All right, so I want to share my screen now. Okay. Okay. So Eves and Tech is a platform dedicated to closing the gender gap between women and technology. And recently we expanded our reach. We expanded to immigrants, we expanded to people of color, we expanded to black people generally. So we are bridging the gap between women, immigrants, people of color in general. Those are the people that we are serving at the moment, and we offer several non-coding courses. And the way we are building this gap is by offering non-coding courses, because of the misconception that people need to get into tech only through coding courses. Meanwhile, they can do it as well without doing so much of coding courses, except along the line they choose to do so, maybe due to interest or any other thing. But it is not the only criteria to get into tech. And we've been doing it for a while, and our students have been working in really fantastic places. So these are the courses that we offer. We have business analysis, data analytics, data governance, product design, product marketing, bioinformatics, Salesforce, amongst others. So this information will not be new to our students that are joining us. It's only going to be new to people that are joining us for the very first time. And a little about our founder, Bisola Alabi. She's a mother of three, and she's also a wife. I mean, she's both managing the home front and also managing our business, and she's doing fantastic in it. She started it over 10 years now, and she has never touched a line of code. And this has helped, and this was what really made her to want to come into the industry, to let people know that they really do not have to do do much with coding before they excel in the tech space, right? So the gap between women and technology, watch families lose their jobs to digitization, and decided to do something about it. And especially those that they feel like, oh, that they are no longer relevant, and they're already giving up. They can learn digital skills that is going to
Overbí.
help them stay relevant in their workplace and all that. So she set up a platform where women who have increasingly become breadwinners can acquire non-coding technical skills and apply for a high quality job in less than 2 months. The result has been phenomenal, and we are committed to doing more.
They got to
So
work.
we are fully trained, we are fully online, and we have trained from 22 countries. As a matter of fact, right now, we have trained from more than that. We have from China, we have from Finland, we have from Suriname, and the likes, several ones from France, from Ghana, and the rest of them. So this has been made possible by the virtue of hands-on training and quality of facilitators who ensures our students get value. We try as much as possible to get good facilitators that will be able to impart knowledge, and I mean the kind of knowledge that is going to be that will be valuable even in the global space. I mean, not just not just in maybe Nigeria or maybe in Canada. Anywhere you get to, you should be able to make use of the same skill. And thank God,
What do you want to eat? What
tech is
do
a
you eat?
universal
What do
language.
you want to
It's
eat?
the same thing that they are speaking in Canada that they will be speaking in UK when it comes to tech. So this who ensures that students get value and also monitor them during interview sessions. Amazingly, we have trained students from various backgrounds such as stay-at-home moms, undergraduates, lawyers, medical doctors, people who wish to immigrate, amongst others. So our aim is that by 2030, we should have trained over 100 million African women through paid and free sessions such as this. As at the moment, we have over 5,000 already that we have already trained, and both paid and free. So we hope that by
But it's
2030
not
we'll be able to achieve our aim. And not just women,
the
we've also added ladies, young girls to our scheme. Of recent, our founder Bisola Alabi, she launched a book called Jasmine Discovers Tech, and the book has found so much support from different individuals that have given to the project to ensure that the book is given free of charge to young girls in secondary school. We started already on International Day of Girl Child. We started from International School of Lagos, and we've been doing that. We'll still continue. We have lots of projects to do in the coming year. So that is about ills and tech, and this is where our students work. This is where our students work. Please, can everyone still hear me? If you
We
can
can
hear
hear
me,
you.
please unmute
Yes,
and
we
say
can.
yes. All
Yes.
right, thank you. All right, thank you. So this is where our students work, at least the ones that we know. The ones that we know, this is where they work. And we have lots of people that also want privacy. So we don't put everything out there. We just greet them and then we just take notes of those places. So, um, briefly about our guest. So, our guest tonight is Mr. Tomiwa Adefokun. I really hope I did not mess up that name. I really hope I didn't mess up that name. So he's a lead AI engineer. So Tomiwa is a distinguished technology innovator and the visionary founder behind the revolutionary GPT Desk project. As the lead AI engineer, he has carved a niche in the realm of generative AI, developing platforms that seamlessly blend artificial. This project has empowered users to transform abstract ideas into tangible, impactful solutions, democratizing access to AI technology. All right, so at this point, I'm going to let Mr. Tomiwa do further introduction of himself. Luckily for us, there's something about Tools and Tech. We try as much as possible to build community. So Mr. Tomiwa is husband to one of us, to one of our ex-students. And then we are coming together once again to still work together with our husband. So we enjoy the community we have, our alumni community, wonderful people, even the students in their groups, wonderful people, the way they relate with one another, that will continue to exist between us and
Because
our students. So at this point, I'm going to be inviting Mr. Tomiwa to please unmute his
I'm
mic
sorry, Mama,
and
you have
take
to.
up the session.
Alright,
Thank you
never
very
hold
much.
your tea.
Evening, everyone.
Good
Uh,
evening, sir.
yes, my name is Tomiwa Adefokun, as she has introduced. She has said a bit about me, probably more than I can say myself. But yeah, I'm happy to be here today to discuss about generative AI, and I'm happy to meet everyone. And I hope by the end of this conversation, go on and do great stuff. Okay.
Last time when the
Getting straight into the business of today, let me quickly project my screen.
Ó mọ̀ pé ó máa ń tẹ̀. Ó mọ̀ pé ó máa ń tẹ̀. Wọ́n kẹ̀lẹ́ kó ra jókòó sí báyìí.
Okay. So we want to discuss about generative AI generally, and we'd also
Okay.
focus on
Oh,
how
Bana, go back.
on how we can, take advantage of this new technology that is, taking the world by storm for our own growth, professionally, in our business, or in anything that we do, essentially. As we go on, we'll see, different benefits of this new technology, the areas where we can leverage it. There is nothing good that is not without challenges. We'll also discuss, some of those challenges, and then we'll go on to demonstrate some solutions and see what we can quickly pick up and do. As ills and techs focus on no-code solutions, we'll also see how we can get into AI solutions development without using code. Okay. Ills and tech, do I need to, I imagine you want to say something? Your hand is up.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Good evening. Please, can you help mute people who are not speaking, but their mics are chats that said you should please help mute their mics so that they can stop distracting people. Thank you.
Okay. I hope I've not muted myself anyway.
No, we can hear you.
All right, awesome. Okay, so
No,
let's
you haven't. You
all right. So what's generative AI? It's I wouldn't be surprised that we have all heard about generative AI. Even if not generative AI, the word ChatGPT has been around for over a year. I think it's ChatGPT became 1 year, like a few days ago, and no, I think Eros and Tech, you may want to respond to that. Do I allow private recording? I think that should be fine. Okay. So yeah, so we are familiar with ChatGPT at least, but there are a number of other generative AI projects out there. Google is working very hard to create their own technologies around generative AI. Amazon is doing its bits around generative AI. Microsoft is essentially working with OpenAI, the owners of ChatGPT, to build their own platforms around generative AI. A whole number of organizations are trying to see how they can leverage generative AI and even be at the front of it in terms of doing business. But what really is this technology? It's essentially about it's a new, way to look at artificial intelligence. Uh, Artificial intelligence has been with us for a very long time, but see we always see it as a technology that is for the nerds. Okay. Yeah, so we've always looked at artificial intelligence like something out of this world, something that is reserved to, very special people, extremely talented people. But essentially, we are all talented in our own ways. And what generative AI is doing essentially is to enable us to express our talent in this very special way. It's essentially giving us power as individuals to bring out the best of us, leveraging technologies that has not been within our reach before. So it essentially focuses on creation and innovation. It's about generating new content from it has like access to. I'm just going to make this conversation. Uh, I'll take it at a level that we can all relate with. We don't want to bore us with very technical technical terms. So we can think about generative AI as something that helps, generate new ideas, new content, new innovation from, we can imagine that it has access to like global knowledge. The goal is that it will have access to global knowledge. Of course, for now, it doesn't have access to all knowledge everywhere, but there is a process called training, where these humongous technologies are trained with data, with information that is out there. And that training process continues. And the more it's trained, the better it is, and the better it's able to help us in anything we want to do or to generate. From the word generative AI, it's all about generating things. So it's using its own knowledge to create new things for us. You can imagine, maybe a poet writing a very nice poem, or maybe someone who is a graphics designer, generating very beautiful artwork for us. Now imagine that you are able to do that by yourself, just instructing your computer to say, generate a poem for me, generate an image for me on any, form of idea that you have, or a whole lot of other complex, things that we can imagine that before now we are not able to put out. But now we have our computer, our phones, who are equipped with these new technologies, and they are able to put out our thought for us in a very creative way. So, moving on. Today's conversation, we are going to focus on understanding generative AI, benefits of generative AI, and how to augment our skills to be able to leverage generative AI in our work. So we start with understanding generative AI. We know, like I mentioned before, there are a whole lot of technical, words out there. We are going to just discuss a little bit, because if we don't have any, idea about this, how these things work, we may not be able to appreciate fully, the opportunities that are available to us. So some of those words that we must have heard about is machine learning. Now, machine learning simply talks about your computers learning from data, or processes that you provide to it, and it's then able to take actions on its own. He can make decisions based on data that it has learned from. And then even, very smarter ones are able to even learn from itself, even retrain itself, and the process is becoming continuous. So they are becoming way smarter. So essentially, when you hear about machine learning, we are simply talking about computers learning from data and being able to make decisions from those data. Another word that's being held there would be neural networks. And that is essentially what, these technologies are based upon. From the word neural network, we are speaking about network of computing resources in the form of the brain. So these neural network technologies are essentially inspired by how neuroscientists understand the brain to work. The brain works by a humongous network of nerves, and then they apply the same idea in computing to network computers at some incredible to create an incredible kind of network of computers that work together to solve problems. In the best of network we used to have would be something like the internet, where my computer can talk to your computer wherever you put it. So far, we can establish a connection over the internet. But the neural network is way more advanced form of network in which information is processed simultaneously across multiple systems in a in a fashion that we didn't have before. Yeah. Some other words that are very close to us that we've heard about would be things like DALL-E. DALL-E is a technology from OpenAI for generating images. We will see into that a little bit in a bit. Yeah. So if you are using DAL-E, for example, you can say, you can tell it and say, generate for me a two-headed flamingo playing chess. Imagine how abstract that kind of instruction is. And it's going to understand that and generate an image that looks like that. It's quite fascinating. There are more things coming up in that regards. And there are generative AI programs that are generating videos now. We may have seen some video clips that are created with generative AI. You can imagine what will be happening in, say, 10 years from now, the kind of content that people will be, creating with these technologies. GPT essentially is it's also created by OpenAI. The one we are familiar with is ChatGPT. Now we even have what they refer to as GPTs, where you are able to create your own GPT, and then it can do different things as you would like it to do. GPTs essentially create tests. When embedded with other tools, they can also do other things, but essentially it takes instruction in natural language. The natural language is just me speaking plain English, and computer can pick that up, understand what I want to do, and perform that instruction. Previously, we write programs to communicate with computers, but and programs are written in specific programming languages. Good enough. People like Hughes and Tech have been, trying to take people to a higher level without writing codes. And technologies like generative AI is going to really accelerate that effort, because people can now create incredible stuff just speaking, plain English to their computers. But how does these all things work? Essentially, we are familiar with the concept of you give computer, what you give to computer is what it gives back to you. But computers actually, do a whole lot of processing on the information we give to it. And a technology like generative AI does not just process the information. It understands what you want to do. It has access to a humongous level of information that will help it to carry out that function. And it's going to give you an output. But then you are able to refine that what you have received and provide it with a feedback and say, adjust this in a way. And then it goes back and adjusts that output again. And that loop continues as long as you desire, until you are satisfied with the final output. We can imagine the idea of GPT or even generative AI like a little child. Some people claim that a child is born without information in his brain. Maybe that is real, maybe it's not. I don't know. But these GPTs are not born with nothing in their head. They are already pre-trained with the kind of data that is actually difficult to imagine because it's quite large. Okay. And then he has all that in his what they call foundational knowledge. So that child has what is called foundational knowledge. But the foundational knowledge does not address exactly what I am looking for. As let's say I want to use it for something. So it means that I need to tell it what I want. I need to provide it additional data on what I want. And then the child may mumble and, come up with something that looks like what I still want. But then I give the child more feedback. I train the child better, and then it becomes smarter and it grows and is able to become a companion in performing, the task that I set to do. So this is the same concept we can look at. Look at you and with generative AI, you can now have different kind of people or children, for example, who can do great stuff, highly skilled, extremely knowledgeable, but then you can still train them to perform actions the way that you desire. Okay. So, like I mentioned before, there are no good things that does not have its own bad sides or challenges or risks. So the same applies to generative AI. And whenever we discuss generative AI, we shouldn't we should make efforts to discuss the challenges that and risk that comes with it. The first main challenge would be resources. I read a few days ago that for you to generate an image with generative AI, to generate just one image, the power resources required will be enough to charge an iPhone from 0 to 100 to generate an image, and it's probably going to generate that image in less than maybe less than a few minutes. It's going to generate that image in few seconds actually. And within that few seconds, it has consumed the same energy that will be required to charge an iPhone from 0 to 100. Imagine we have 1,000 people generating these images for different purposes, and that's going to require, the kind of power that the world, may not really be ready for. But that also provides a new opportunity for people who would invest in such technologies. So the resources is a major challenge for generative AI. Another thing to look at is ethics, because this technology can generate anything, and you can tune it to generate the information or content the way you desire with your own intentions. It's also likely for people to use it to create content that may not be actually factual, and they may make it look like it's actually factual. So imagine you create a video about the president saying something, which is going to look very real, but he didn't actually say it. So the concept of deep fakes come into play. So, but people are also walking around. That also provides another opportunity. There are people who have made career in AI ethics, and it's also flourishing. So people are working on that as well. Privacy is another challenge because this AI, generative AI, deals with knowledge, and you have to provide knowledge for it to respond, to give you, useful output. If you're not careful, you may provide it information that are sensitive, and then that may, lead to, imagine that you provide it with your trade secret, and then it took your trade secrets, make it part of his own financial knowledge, and is able to then provide that information to other people. You can we need to be careful when using generative AI to be sure that we are not compromising, our privacy. Biases is another thing, and this simply states that, let's say I am somebody who is, let's say I'm very biased in terms of gender. Maybe I have gender biases. I have preferences for for male workers in my industry, for example. And I provided the information that is used to train my foundational models. Chances are the models may begin to behave like me. So it may be bringing out my biases in its work. So let's say you create for me an image of a very nice looking person. If I'm a Black person and I've provided data about Black people, significantly, it's probably going to generate an image of a very fine Black person. And same would apply if the data it was trained on was about white people. So that kind of biases exist. But people are making efforts to be sure that there is balance in the kind of information that we are using to train these models, to be sure that such biases are mitigated. Okay, so those 4 challenges and risks, we need to pay attention to them in our work and see how we can navigate them. Okay. Okay. So, okay. What are the capabilities of generative AI? We already know that it can generate text. So I want to believe most of us have already used ChatGPT, and we have been creating, letters. We've been creating articles, maybe even presentations and what may using ChatGPT. So essentially, it does that. You can also create videos. You can just describe the kind of video that you desire, and it's able to create it for you. Okay. It can create images. Then it can also generate codes. It can do a whole lot of things, but this the common use cases that people have quite familiar with. So what are the benefits of generative AI? Essentially, it boosts creativity and efficiency. Imagine that it looks as if you have a personal assistant that is incredibly smart. And then in anything you want to do, you can delegate work to your assistant and is able to deliver efficiently. It's used across multiple industries. In fact, every industry is struggling to get a hang of it and find the best use cases within that industry. In education, people are working hard to see how they can, leverage it in teaching, in creating curriculums and things like that. We have also worked extensively in that area. In journalism, people are creating initial reports, analyzing peer reports and stuff like that. So the benefits are quite expansive, and because we are speaking about career in this conversation, we'll quickly go through some areas, some careers where generative AI can be leveraged immediately, and anybody can do that with just a little bit of skills that doesn't require coding. Essentially, the skills is basically speaking better English, communicating better, because at this stage, what we do really is to discuss with our assistants in the name of generative AI, and it's going to help us do whatever we want to do. But communication is key. How do we communicate? That's the skill that we, essentially would need to have. So for somebody in customer support, you are able to leverage historical data and get quicker responses to common customer query. So all your consultations and systems like Salesforce, for example, they're also integrating AI. And imagine all the cases that you have logged, and now you have an intelligent assistant that can understand all those cases that customers have put in, and is able to generate responses to them even before they have problem now. So it will be able to give you solution. So that's a kind of advantage that you can take. You can leverage as a customer support person. Of course, you don't have to have access to Salesforce. And this conversation, we are going to show us how we can do a whole lot of things with what is available to every one of us today. Okay. So in marketing, you can brainstorm campaign ideas. In fact, one of the most fascinating things that generative AI can do for us is generating idea. Just have the thoughts and be able to express what you desire, and you would actually be fascinated the kind of result that is going to give. So also you can analyze customer feedback and things like that. Imagine that you have run a Instagram campaign, for example, and you have a gamut of feedback from your customers, or maybe you have some from Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, and you have all of these logged in a spreadsheet, and you want to make sense of it, and you just upload that spreadsheet and uh, you ask whichever tool you are using, whichever generative AI tool you are using, say ChatGPT, and you begin to query it. You begin to ask it for trends. You can ask, plot me a graph that shows what time people are engaging. What should I do? A whole lot of things that come up with. So far you have the data and you're able to provide it to it, then it goes to work and is able to help you to answer any kind of question that you may have. That's some, some expertise that you may have to pay for if you are not trained in analyzing such information. Even if you are trained in analyzing data, you may not be trained as a marketer. You may not be trained in brand communication and things like that. But these AI technologies have those inherent, knowledge, and they are able to deliver. You only need to tell it that act as a brand advisor, for example. Look at my data and tell me something, and it's going to do it for you. Okay. People in supply chain can also manage historical sales, market trends. They are able to, consult about risk, contingency planning, and things like that. So far, the data is available. You're able to do that. And if you are the supply chain manager and you are able to do all of this way faster, if you're working with a big organization, you probably have your ERPs that can do a whole lot of stuff for you. But imagine you don't have access to those. And even if you do, you're able to even do things faster, smarter, and you're able to deliver on your work much more efficiently. As a project manager too, you can manage your project timelines and tasks using, generative AI ability to understand the requirements and generate a structured plan for you. And you can be updating that plan as the work is progressing. And then it's also be guiding you and be providing you with, further information that will be useful to you, or let's say in generating reports. So let's say you should be delivering reports on a maybe weekly basis. And with generative AI, you may be able to deliver your report like every day. And imagine how impressed the stakeholders would be if you're able to give them, timely feedback or report or updates on the project. Okay, that's going to improve your communication significantly, stakeholder communication significantly. Data scientists, these are the people who actually live and sleep with generative AI. And like I've said from time to time, this technology relies heavily on data. So beyond data scientists, working on the data that goes into generative AI, they can also leverage generative AI in their own work. Let's say you even want, hypothetical scenario, you need 1 million records to do some hypothetical or research, for example. You're able to generate those data. You just describe the kind of data you want, you're able to generate it, and you are able to carry out your visualization or using synthetic data for whatever you wish to do. And a whole lot of things. You can even upload your own data. Let's say you have some data on market research, for example, and you're able to upload that. You can generate your graphs. You can generate your charts. You can compare data. You can do a whole lot of things that would require some extensive data science knowledge. You can now do those things very quickly, and you can focus on informing forming opinions, which is what really brings value to the work that you do, and leave the heavy lifting to AI to help you with. IT people are also able to implement generative AI systems in maybe help desk. If you provide, the knowledge base of your environment to generative AI, then you can have an AI assistant that can, speak to your staff. So when staff have issue, before they come to IT, they can actually consult your AI IT assistant and even solve the problems to some extent. And when required, they then come to IT. So you can troubleshoot, resolve common technical issues without necessarily, overwhelming the IT people. yeah, a whole lot of other things that can be done. You can generate incident response plan. You can, you can do network analysis. Let's say you have a system that is collecting logs within your environment. You can provide this to generative AI and begin to query it further and ask questions and even seek for solution. How do we resolve this and all of that? Okay. I've spoken about different, careers that can leverage generative AI. At this point, I would like to speak about uh, people within my own space. I'm a developer. So how we, taking advantage of generative AI in our work? Personally, I've I'm able to write. I'm going to speak as somebody who have used this to some extent and how it has impacted me. Now I'm able to write programs in many languages, which before now, if you can write efficiently in one programming language, say Java, for example, we will say you are really good. Maybe you can also write in Python. I will say, oh, wow, you are really, really good. But now you can actually write, programs in any language whatsoever. Okay. And all you need is your background experience as a developer. Let me just quickly show us an example of how that works. So I'm going to open this simple code, which anybody can actually write. It's a program to sort records. So let's say I have 1 to 10, 1 to 100 different numbers, and I want to sort it. So anybody can write this instruction. This is basic pseudocode. It's not actually a program, but it's an instruction on how I want this function to be performed. And that's essentially what a programmer will be doing going forward. So you're only going to know what you want to do, and then you can actually ask ChatGPT, for example, to write the program for you. Now, I want to try what I have written. And it's going to, okay, I'm using ChatGPT 4. I don't intend to use ChatGPT 4, but let's see what it's going to come up with. Okay, ChatGPT 4 is a bit more advanced. It can do way more than the previous versions. So what this code is going to do, like, this is not a programming language. This is close to English language, but it's structured it's written in a structured manner. Okay, it's not a programming language, but he understood what I want to do. And this logic is actually very essential when you are working with generative AI. If you are able to, provide your instruction in a very detailed, structured manner, you are better guaranteed of good results. So what I'm saying you should do here is essentially generate 10 numbers between 1 and 10 randomly, and then sort the numbers in increasing format. Now, let's say I've never been a programmer and I am able to write an instruction that can do this. Then I can generate codes. I can generate a programming code to do that, and then I can use it in my project. Okay, so I'm putting back, this is ChatGPT 3.5, which, okay, it did the same thing. And now I'm going to say, generate a Python code for this, a Python code for this. Okay, so this is the Python, implementation of this instruction that I have here. Okay, imagine I have never written Java before, and I say, okay, generate it in Java. Generate it in Java. Okay, this is the Java implementation of that. Let's say generate it in Golang. That is a language I've never written before. Generate. Okay, so like I said, Golang is a language that I've never written before. Now, if I'm going for an interview, for example, and they're asking me, can you write a program in Golang? I think my answer would be yes, because I know how to structure instructions that can work in a program. And then I know I can always use ChatGPT to generate the code, and it's going to work extremely well. So that's one way that I've personally taken advantage of ChatGPT or generative AI as a software engineer. Now, another thing is you can create HTML or CSS from graphic designs. In the realm of application development, a number of us may be familiar with this concept, where you have somebody who is great at creating visual images and stuff. We call them where some you may call them graphic designer, some who have gone ahead to do more, we call them user interface, user experience professionals. I'm sure Hills and Tech have trained a number of people in that. Now, this is a real life project where somebody, a graphics designer did this. Normally, this tool is called Figma. Normally, I should be able to just pick the code from here and use it in the project. But the person who designed this is not in any way a web developer at all. He's a basic graphic designer. So he has not used the elements that I'm able to use as they are in my program. So it means that I will have to rewrite a whole lot of things and then follow the design and all that. That's a whole lot of headache. And so what will I do? I just do a screenshot of this screen. Okay. I do a screenshot, go to my ChatGPT and say, sorry. Okay, say generate the HTML and CSS. This HTML and CSS are essentially the front end, languages to create any visual representation on a web page for this screen. Okay. So this is using AI vision. When people talk about AI can now see or ChatGPT can now see, is essentially saying we can give it image and it can understand what is in the image, and it's able to then take our instruction. It has looked at this image. This may not be too good because I didn't quite copy it well, but it's okay. And then it's able to generate the HTML that would match what is on the screen, and then followed it with the CSS that would, help with the design for the screen. Okay, now I have already done this. So, and this is the output. This is the web page. Anybody can go to this web page and they will see exactly, oh, sorry about that. Okay, they will see exactly that screen come up, okay, which is, of course, with a little bit of tweaks here and there. It's not that I can't do that on my own without using AI assistance, but that is definitely going to take me more time. And, why do I need to spend that time if I can easily, use ChatGPT to help me out, okay? So if you're a developer or a web developer or something like that, you can definitely appreciate how that has helped greatly. Another thing that I do is, okay, I'm not a designer. I don't really like designing things. So I can say, generate for me what a mobile interface for, a shopping cart should look like, or a e-commerce website. Generate a mobile responsive interface for. So it's going to generate that for me. And then I can then go further and say, generate the code. Once I'm happy with the interface it created, then I can go further and say generate the code, and I can take that and go use in my application. Yes, people talk about the developers are going to be eliminated when AI becomes too good that it can create any application for people. I don't think we are, well, maybe we will, but at the moment, we are not really going to have something like that. What we are going to have are people who are able to leverage AI in development work, and they are able to do things, way faster and more in a very more efficient way. So personally, what am I doing? Knowing that this is going to happen, it's enough to compete with the very young, smart guys coming up. Now you have AI assistants writing codes to compete with. So what am I doing personally? So I would like, I would not want to be displaced by AI. Neither would I want to be, displaced by the younger folks. But then I can leverage AI to improve what I do and become more relevant. And how am I doing that personally? I'm designing processes that augment the application development lifecycle with generative AI, from creating user stories from your backlog, requirement gathering, testing, automation, and all of that. We can have AI do a whole lot of work in that life cycle. And if you are the one who can help your organization put that process in place, and you are delivering solutions faster and better, then you are going to be relevant. It may reduce the amount of code you are writing, the lines of code you are writing may be reducing, because you are now leveraging AI to do a whole lot of heavy lifting for you. But yet you would be very relevant because you are able to deliver more value to the business. And I'm also creating tools that will make it even easier for people and businesses to create their AI solutions. Before now, we have uh, uh, the ChatGPT 3.5, and then you are quite limited in what you can do. Now you have ChatGPT 4 and beyond, and the technologies are getting better. Microsoft is investing, in tools that help people to do things also. And then I feel, okay, that's an area where I can also help. Those people are going to charge you a whole lot. And today you are able to create applications using my technologies. And those are things that I am also doing to contribute in this terrain. Okay, so what have I done? The platform called GPT Desk is a place where you are able to create your own AI apps without writing any code, and we are going to see that shortly. I created the Harmonist, which is like a AI mediator, that like bringing the third party into your conversation to help you, streamline the conversation and come to a resolution faster. I created MicroTutor, which is a learning platform that leverages AI to teach, to generate learning contents and all of that for professionals and learners. I also worked on Faith Up, which is a dedicated Christian, support, providing, guidance, spiritual encouragement, spiritual guidance, counseling to people, based on Christian faith. So these are all experimental projects, and these are things that anybody can begin to work with and build their own things. So these are other ways that you can enhance yourself. So one way is to enhance the work that you do using generative AI, become better professional, become smarter, deliver more value to your business. Another way is you can also create solutions that people would subscribe to or people would pay to use. Okay, that's another way you can create value or even, take advantage of generative AI. Another way to take advantage of generative AI is you can also sell prompt scripts. Prompt scripts are instructions that you give to generative AI systems that would give, responses or to perform a set of instructions. So this one I have on the screen is just an example of something that somebody created. I did not create this one. Somebody created it. I saw it in the store. This person would probably not spend, I don't even know what this thing does, but whatever it does, I don't believe he would have spent more than 2 nights to create it. And as at the time I took this screenshot, this script has been in the store for just 3 weeks, and it has already sold 742 items. At $9.99, if you calculate that in Naira, that would be like 7 million Naira in 3 weeks of sale. Not many people have the kind of product that can sell, and this is not Yahoo Yahoo, for example. Not many people have that kind of revenue in 3 weeks. So, and this person is not in any way different from any one of us. You can begin to learn how to write these scripts, and you can begin to commercialize your scripts if you wish. Or let's say you work in an organization that is already adopting generative AI extensively, you can also begin to add value to your colleagues, add value to the processes in your business, writing, better instructions. Let me not use the word script because that sounds like technology. Better instructions for generative AI. And there are learning, tools and materials that can help you get started to start doing that. Okay. Why should we augment our skills with AI? I would want to ask that question and say, why should we not? Because it's not something that I think we can actually afford not to do. A research by Harvard at Boston Consulting Group showed that AI assistant consultants completed their tasks 25% faster and accomplished 12% more tasks and produced work that are 40% higher in quality than people who are not using AI to assist themselves. Now, this, of course, BCG is one of the biggest consulting firms in the world. You can imagine that they have some of the smartest, people in their employ. And if these people are already, differentiating themselves, I mean, consultant to consultant now, differentiating themselves using AI tools to upskill and, upgrade the level of work that they do, then it means that there is so much value in that in generative AI for us. Microsoft did an analysis where they examined the use of GitHub AI Copilot. That's a tool that can help a developer in writing their code. So as you are programming as a developer, the Copilot tool is also predicting what you should type next, generating more code for you, accessing the code that you are writing, and all that. It's like having a co-programmer. There is a concept in programming called peer programming. So this can actually eliminate the use for a pair, and then you can leverage AI as your pair. And the results showed that programmers that are leveraging Copilot are working at 55%, faster rates. They are delivering their codes 55% faster than those who are not. So I saw this article on Business Insider actually yesterday that says the world is splitting between those who use ChatGPT to get better and smarter and richer and everyone else. And that's a fact. People have started making money. People are already, getting promotions at work. People are also changing jobs already. There are people who are reaching out to those that are, becoming, evidently better at what they do, just because they are leveraging generative AI. They have not gone on any essential, any form of advanced training. All they have done is leverage, ChatGPT that is available to everybody in what they do, and they are becoming smarter. And when you are smarter, you command more value, and then ultimately it brings more money. Okay, so moving on. How do we get to augment our skills? There are different levels to this. Since we at EOS and Tech focus more on no code to low code, skill sets. People at the beginner level should be able to get started using AI, building AI solutions, without writing code already. There are tutorials and lessons, Google AI education, Intel AI for citizens, IBM AI for professional certificate, and all that for people who want to get started at different, levels of entry. For intermediate level, you are getting deeper. You want to work on deep learning specialization, Google machine learning with TensorFlow, Google advanced machine learning with TensorFlow. Then you are getting even better at advanced level. You have NVIDIA. NVIDIA produces the chips that generative AI technologies run on, and they are also, producing some resources for generative AI, and they are also training as well. And then there are professional certificates in computer vision, from University of Washington. So these are different levels, and at any level at all. You may also be interested in Microsoft certificates for Azure AI Fundamentals, Google Professional Machine Learning Engineer, AWS Machine Learning, and all of that. Yeah, I do not want to dissuade us to say, oh, these are a bit technical. No, we can begin our journey from the beginner level, and right away, we would be starting with the no code part of things. And and we are going to demonstrate how to do that. And in this demonstration, we are going to create some things. And when you leave this webinar this night, you are also able to start creating, your own AI solutions. And that's the goal. So there are a few ways that you can get started. Okay, if you have access to ChatGPT Enterprise, maybe your business has subscribed to ChatGPT Enterprise, you may be able to create your AI, your GPTs or your AI solutions directly on ChatGPT. Okay, if you are subscribed to ChatGPT Plus, that costs $20 per month as at now. So you are also able to create your AI solutions and share with people. But if you don't have access to those, yeah, that's why I've created the GPT desk, which is available at gptdemo.web.app that you can immediately, start using for free to create your solution. It's the output is practically the same as what you will get if you created with OpenAI tools. The only difference is you are not going to pay to use this. Okay. All right. So here we go. The first thing we want to create is a performance review assistant. And you can imagine that many of us are professionals, and we don't, some have the luxury of having HR giving them feedback every week, maybe every month, maybe some once in a year. But what if you want to assess yourself on a daily basis and you have your KPIs? Okay. So what we want to do, let me go to here. So I want to do a performance evaluator for an HR officer. So this HR officer has a set of KPIs that has been defined by his HR. Okay, so this is just hypothetical. It's just something I generated. Your KPI would be different from this, but let's just use this as an example. So this is HR officer KPI. The KPI As employee satisfaction, it has a weight of 30%. Talent acquisition has a weight of 10, etc, etc, etc. Okay, and ratings are defined this way. Okay, if you significantly exceed the expectation, it gives you 90 to 100. You know, we are familiar with this. So this is your KPI and your rating. Okay, so and then you want to create something to help evaluate you from time to time, or maybe you want to evaluate your staff. Okay. Okay, so I go to GPT. So okay, so at gptdemo.web.app, we have some solutions there already, something around medical, family medical desk, blah, 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 blah. But what I want to do now is I want to create a solution. So, and then I would go to build application. So I have some things here, but this is my own console, private to me. When you go on to GPT desk or at gptdemo.web.app, you also have your own developer console. Everything you create is private to you, except you decide to share it. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to create an application. I click on application. What's the ID? Performance manager. Performance review manager. Yeah, let's call it performance manager. Okay. Okay, what do I want to call the agent name when it's chatting with me? Performance PM, P manager. Let's just call it something fancy. P manager, okay? Then give it a development team. This one maybe is HR labs. Maybe that's what you do. Evaluate HR officer, performance of HR officer. Evaluate the performance of HR officer. Okay, so I'll create it. And then immediately it takes me to the lab, to the console for this application, to the settings. And all I need to do really is to provide it the instruction. The instruction is what is described as action prompt so that we don't waste time. I already have that written down here. Okay, so this is the, and you can see it's basic English. Okay, it's basic English that I've written here. I only told it what to do. Okay, I just tell it you're an employee performance reviewer. I will provide you with a narration of my performance, and I want you to conduct a review. You will perform the review based on the KPI and rating scale you have been provided for HR officer. Do your best to extract the metrics from the narration. If multiple narrations are provided, provide reviews for each staff. Okay, yeah, this is me giving instruction to my assistant. Let's think of it that way. And this assistant is so knowledgeable and it will always do exactly what I asked it to do. Okay, so how do I want it to behave apart from knowing what I want it to do? This is what is defined under contextual guideline. And there I say start by asking for the narration for my performance. So when we start, it's going to ask, tell me about your performance. And then I will just describe what I have done, maybe for the week. And after receiving the narration, provide the rating, the weighted score for each KPI, and the rationale for your rating in a tabular format. Include the overall score and rating. Be sure to present the result in a tabular format. Okay, that's just double emphasizing that I would want it in a tabular format. Okay, so what template do I want to use? For this purpose, I just leave it at default, and that will be that. Okay. Yeah, the next thing is it needs to know about the KPI, right? Which we have defined, and all I need to do is get the KPI in it, okay? Oops. Okay, this is the KPI. Okay, so yeah, the application is done. Okay, one more thing. The chart is limited to 200, but because the narration will be much larger, I want to increase it to 2,000, so it can take 2,000 characters. Okay. Okay, so that's it. And then I would launch this app now. Okay, and within the few seconds of that we spent, you have already created your own, AI app. And then it's asking me for the narration. Please provide the narration for your performance of as an HR officer. Okay. So I have some scenarios here that I would want to test. Okay, so say this person. Okay, so I would come here, put the narration, then you will go to work and use the KPI to analyze this narration and come up with a review of this Tomiwa Adefokun fellow. Okay, he's typing the result now, and in a moment, it would give us. Okay, so the result is back. Well, it didn't take my instruction to do it in a tabular format, but I can tell it again. But this is what it looks like. So let me tell it to give me in a tabular format. Okay, present the results in a tabular format. Okay, so now this is what it believes my performance is based on, and it's saying I did not meet expectation. Okay, so that's just an example. So you can, if you know your KPI at work, you can create your own personal, evaluator, give it the KPI, and every week, for example, you can describe how you have performed, and it's going to rate you. And if at the end of the year, your manager rates you something different, you may want to take it up and say, no, I have my own personal AI, performance reviewer that feels differently. That's just kidding, but yeah, that's just something that you can create. Okay, let's go back. Okay, the next thing we can look at is an AI tutor. How can we create an AI tutor? Okay. For this, we'll be leveraging, I want to create a tutor for prompt design, something that can teach us how to write good prompts. Okay, and I don't have more than the guideline for this. And the guideline simply says, these are understanding the task. This is a prompt design learning guide. Understanding the task, clarity and precision, context and detail, interactive approach, ethical considerations, creativity and exploration, feedback and adjustment, staying informed, Now, I'm going to provide this to my AI tutor, and it can create a full learning curriculum in a conversational manner and teach and even test the user's understanding. So I go back here, and this is really going to be fast. Just call it prompt tutor, prompt tutor, prompt tutor, prompt design. prompt tutor, development team, AI, labs, description, prompt design, learning. Nothing more than that. Okay, create it. Then for this, I would go to the model instruction. I don't want to provide it any prompt or any guideline because we have already created a learning template, and that template would define the prompt, the guideline, and all of that to suit how a learning program should be delivered by AI. Yes, because I only have the guideline, I want to expand with foundational knowledge, and then I would provide the prompt design guideline next. Yeah, I don't, that would be all. And then I can launch this app now. Okay, so he said he's telling me he's my prompt instructor. Let me restart it. Okay, better. Okay, he's telling me I'm prompt tutor, and this is the course outline. Let's begin. Please share your prior understanding of the topic. Okay, let's say I don't know anything. I don't know about prompt design. Okay, and what he's going to do is it would adapt the course in a way that suits somebody who had no prior knowledge. If I said I had the prior knowledge, he's also going to assess my knowledge, and he's going to adapt that and teach me at that level. Now he's just going to go on, this is like learning by chatting. It's like me chatting with my teacher, and he's going to teach me these courses from 1 to 8, and also conduct a brief test to see how I've performed. We don't have time to go through that, but yeah, for the purpose of this training, one thing I will also do is I'm going to activate this. So if you go to the GPT demo web.web.app, if you go to the development store, because I've activated it, it will be available. It will be available for you here. So you can actually do your prompt design e-learning right away from there. Okay, that's another thing that we've created. Now, within a few minutes, we have created 2 apps. Of course, we can go on and go on and go on, but there is one I'm really interested in creating. The last one I'll create. I plan to do this. Oh, okay, sorry. I would like to also show us how you can, create an app just by chatting. Okay. Previously, I have created these apps by providing the instruction that I've written before. What if I can just chat with it and create, my app? So on our microtutor platform, we've created a series of learning generators, and all you need to do is chat with it and create your learning material. Okay, so you come here and it's asking you, your microtutor publisher, what role do I want to create micro learning for? Okay, so what this particular app does is to generate learning that targets professionals. So this will be useful to people in learning and development, for example. Let's say the role I want to develop learning for now is IT support, for example. Okay, so I'm answering it, that is IT support. So what it will do is it will create, a number of job functions for IT support and suggest what they should learn as an IT support person. If I'm fine with all of these, I would just say proceed. If I want to make adjustment, I would tell it to make adjustment. Well, I'm pretty cool with this, so I would say this is fine. I'm ready to deploy. This is fine. I am ready. to deploy. Okay, so it's suggesting some, when we were creating, using the console, these are some information we were providing, but this is a conversational app builder, and it's going to suggest some things to you. You can change it. In this case, I'm going to accept all of this. I'm okay with the recommended. Okay, it's trying to reconfirm that this is exactly what I will use. And I said, okay. 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 Why this wait? We'll come back to it. But essentially what it's going to do when it's done is it would have deployed the app, it will be available, it will have a link, and then we would be able to, take the course just like the previous ones. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to show is a family finance advisor. This one is quite interesting because I think almost everybody would, relate with what this particular app would do. And what it's going to do is an expert in budgeting, smart shopping, meal planning, and stuff like that. So I'll go to the demo. Let me check that I don't have connectivity issue. Okay. Okay, so now I want to create family finance, family CFO. Family finance advisor. Okay, the GPT name is family CFO. Development name is, let me just put my name, Tomiwa Adefokun. Okay, app with family financial matters, family. Okay. Okay, for the family CFO also, I have created, yeah. So I have the setup here. So this is the prompt, and all it's going to do is going to look at the history, the family's historical spending, and then it will use that to guide on, anything they ask it. Okay, still default template. Now, where is the family history, spending history? Is essentially like scanning your transaction slips, just some small stuff, from Passmart Mall, you bought some things, these are the prices. From Shop Nines, you bought some things, these are the prices. It can be more than this, you can update it from time to time. So I'm going to provide it to it as knowledge. Family CFO, grocery, Nigerian. Okay. Okay, I think that should be all. Let's say, let me take this to 2000 characters just to be sure. Okay, apply changes, then launch. Our family CFO is ready. And then he's asking me, would you like me to generate a meal plan for the week based on your grocery shopping history? Yes, that's what I would like to do. Generate a meal plan for the week. Okay, so this is what it feels based on, our shopping history. This is what it feels we would eat for Monday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, blah, 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 blah. This can help some of our wives and husbands that are into kitchen stuff. And then also help us to minimize, the financial discussion that can be challenging to have sometimes. Okay, so what I want to do next is create a shopping list for this, okay? Create a shopping list for the meal plan for a family of 5. Okay, that's for it to know the quantities of things to buy and things like that. Okay, so what it's doing is looking into the history of our shopping. It knows the shops that we've been going to, and then it can pick the best prices. Yeah, so if we, this is definitely going to help to, make the shopping, cheaper, because it's using best prices from different shops. And I can decide to just go to one if I don't have time. Maybe I want to consider something like transport fee. I think I have a question around that. Okay, I'm not sure I wrote it down. Okay, maybe it's in the setup. Yeah. I have a question around that. Okay, assuming transport cost to shop nice is 2,000 naira, and the transport cost to ShopMart is 1,000 naira. Where should I go to for this shopping? Okay, let's ask it this question and see how it's going to respond. So this is saying factor in transport costs, and let me go to, let's see what it's going to say. Okay, so you say, given the transportation costs you mentioned, let's compare the costs. If we go to Shop Nice to buy everything, it's going to cost us 36,500 naira. If you go to Passmart to buy everything, including transportation, it's going to cost us 35,000 naira. So it's would recommend we go to Passmart to do this shopping. Okay, so this is something anybody can, do, and we can imagine different ways that that a similar application can help us. Maybe it's in procurement in your office. Maybe it's different kind of budgeting needs that you need somebody to help you, think about all the data you have and make sense of it and give you good recommendation. These are things you would likely want to pay for, but now you can do that by yourself, just knowing what you want to do, and then you are able to build your assistants by yourself, and then you are able to get the work done. Okay, so that is how far we have come this night. I'm very happy to have your questions now. Thank you for listening so far.
Thank you for an amazing session, Mr. I thoroughly enjoyed the session. But my question is, please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay. So my question is, so I have this idea and I put it on the GPT desk to build it out for me. So what's the scalability like? What if I want millions of people to use the application? Is
Uh,
it visible,
oh,
feasible, or I would have
uh,
to
extremely
integrate it into other platforms?
extremely visible, and we will be happy to hear that you have 1 million people that want to use it. Of course, at that point, we don't think you want to do something that 1 million people can use without making money from it, right? And yeah, if you get to that level, then it should be mutually beneficial for you and for the platform as well. So that's a conversation we can have, but that's not the important thing for us now. We definitely hope we have people that will build something that will reach 1 million people. But what is really important for us at this time is for people to be able to learn the skills that they need, to get better at their work, or maybe eventually to build things that they can commercialize. But to ensure that people are able to learn is the reason we have built the GPT desk for now. Yeah, but for scalability, yeah, the platform itself is running on Google infrastructures, and yeah, it's pretty scalable.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
would like for others to ask questions too.
Hello, good evening. Thank you
Good evening.
for such a wonderful session. I am truly wowed by your ability to create your own chat
Oh,
GPT.
thank
Okay.
you.
I have two questions. One, I read somewhere that as much as possible, people should avoid submitting personal details into chat GPT. Do you agree with that?
Yes, because even when we talked about the risk and challenges, we discussed the privacy issues. Okay, so if there is something you don't want, to find out there, you definitely don't want to put it in ChatGPT. However, um, I can't say it's guaranteed that if you use a tool like GPT Desk, because it's leveraging APIs, and the agreements with ChatGPT is they would not use the data that pass through the APIs to train their models. So yeah, such information would not be exposed, but that's not a guarantee. Okay, if there is any information we don't want out there, we probably don't want to put it in any medium that at all. You don't want to send it via WhatsApp. We probably don't want to have it on our computer because it can be hacked. Yeah, so the same thing applies. If you have information that are quite sensitive, we don't want to get it out there. We shouldn't put it in ChatGPT.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Then my second question is this. Yes, I now understand the power of generative AI, but I'm wondering that is it possible to create an app based on generative AI that instead of you typing or uploading text, it would just be to just click buttons to swipe something. So, for ease of use without necessarily typing. Just wondering.
I, to be honest, do not really understand maybe what you meant. But you said IP. Maybe I didn't get that.
Okay. Let me explain myself properly.
Okay.
From what you showed us,
Okay.
right? You need to type.
Okay, you want something that you can talk to.
Texts.
Yes.
So I'm just thinking that since users are looking for things to make the life easier, can somebody build something on generative AI that instead of having to type, you just click a button or you swipe something.
Swipe. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you can do all of that. So all all of those are input mediums. If you can even do voice. So instead of typing, you can be talking, and it can also talk back to you. So you don't even have to read. Say you don't want to read, you don't want to type, you just want to have a conversation. Talk to it, and you hear back, responses in voice. You can, upload attachments to it also. So let's say you already have the documents and you don't see why you should type or copy. You can also just attach. For example, when I was building something like this, if I wanted users to attach, if I go to user experience, if I want users to attach, documents when using this particular app, I would just enable it here. Okay, and say you can attach files up to this so quantity. Now, if I launch it now, it should have enabled, the attachment option. So now I can attach files. Yeah, so you can do that. Okay, but if I don't need, if this particular use case does not require users uploading anything, I just turn it off. So yeah, it's just user experience. And then we can enable voice so that you just prompt it and you start recording. Let me go to, let's see if, okay, this is not available even in, this is ChatGPT Plus. I want to see if, okay, I think voice is not enabled there, but if you are using the app, the mobile app, voice is already enabled. Okay, and yeah, you can also build your own application that can prompt the microphone of your device and you record, and then yeah, the voice is converted to text and is sent over. A whole lot of things can happen in the background, and the user is only interacting with your microphone. Yeah, so there are different input mediums can be implemented.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, one last question for me. Okay. Based on your experience and your exposure, where do you think generative AI will be in the next 5 years? For example, if somebody wants to start learning now, where should the person start from, considering where AI will be in the next 5 years?
Okay, so if it's somebody who, pretty had no serious experience before, where you may want to start with is you can come on here and go to maybe developer tutor, or that script we just create, that app we just created. I think I said I will put it in the store. Yeah, this prompt design, that's the first place to start, because it helps you to understand how to have conversation with an AI system. And that's essentially where things need to start. Now, when you start having conversation with AI system and you are getting good responses, then you begin to write prompts that can, that can follow a process or follow a procedure. And when you are able to do that, then you can package that into an app, whether you are building it on GPT Desk or you are building it on ChatGPT Plus or ChatGPT Enterprise. All you are doing essentially is packaging your instruction that can, achieve a particular business objective, and it works. So no extra coding is required. So that's why I said the place to start is to learn how to write good, prompts, or how to have good conversation with AI. And essentially is knowing how to speak good English, not good as in grammar error free, but communicative, something that you think that is passing across your instruction, adequately, effectively, and in a proper context. So that's where to start from. Now, when you are pretty comfortable with that, and that shouldn't take so long, many people have improved just by going through our AI dev tutor examples. But then the next thing you want to look at is what I discussed here, where there are different areas of learning. There are different areas of learning depending on your level, and that is why we have only scratched the surface. with the no-code examples that we have done today, okay, then you want to go further, so these are different areas, different areas of learning that, would be useful to you based on wherever you are in the scale. If you feel comfortable enough that you are intermediate level, you want to learn more into deep learning, or TensorFlow, machine learning stuff, those are a bit, more technical, or you can go further on the advanced level. So different areas, but starting today, I would say you want to take up the no-code AI skills, which is basically writing good prompts for now. And when you are comfortable, then you can proceed to other skill sets, which are essentially what is on this screen. But in 5 years, where AI is going to be, it will be hard to imagine, but I can guess that without sufficient AI skills, many people would actually be relevant in the next 5 years, starting from next year, essentially. Okay, I hope that answers
Thank you
the
very
question.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. It does.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a question. I think you have begun to answer it. Thank you for the presentation.
Welcome.
So I noticed that when you were prompting or instructing your AI with the desk, you were copying some files in, is it Visual Studio Code?
Visual Studio Code, but you don't need Visual Studio Code. That's just any tests of documents, any test software would work. Yeah.
Okay. So the question I wanted to ask, which I suspect you've answered, is the logic and the skill to be able to, when you decide what you want to build, to be able to come up with those text messages, not text messages, but the text instructions in that sequencing. How do you gain that skill? Because for me, that seems to be the foundation of being able to engage in this context of not just prompting, but building something else. Is this the same route as learning to prompt or
Exactly.
prompt engineering?
It is actually. It is. You are correct. It's prompt design and prompt engineering. Starting from prompt design, then prompt engineering, they work hand in hand. Sometimes it's difficult to separate the two, but it's essentially, and you have actually, used the right words, giving your instruction in sequential order to get the result that you are looking for. And that thought process is the concept of prompt engineering, and prompt design or prompt engineering. And I want to believe that is a skill that everybody will need to have. Even if you can't write any code to build any AI application, but that skill to be able to communicate effectively with an AI system is going to be very much in demand. Like, I believe everybody needs to have that skill.
Okay, so what's the best way to build on this? Like, is it the foundation? I can see the beginner level recommendations you've made from Google and Intel. So it's just to go on a self-learning journey with it, right?
I think EUS and Tech may be able to answer that better. As a learning organization, I just like the opportunity to discuss this with everyone. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so let me
Okay.
answer that question. So if you're an alumni, before we get to bed, I'm going to share like a Google link where you can just take some course on artificial intelligence, LLMs and all of that. However, the practical side of it, I can guarantee you that you will not be able to learn it on all of those platforms. So we will be launching the hands-on course on Use and Tech come January. So I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. But before then, I'll share all of the platforms where you can just, take a theoretical, class to have an understanding of how it works. But for the hands-on approach on how to build your products, how to work effectively at your place of work, right? All of that will be done in class.
Okay, so this links you're going to share, are you sharing it to the Telegram group?
Oh, okay. Yes, on the both on the Telegram, and we have several groups, so we just share everything there. You can confirm what
Okay.
group you're on, so we'll be sure as to where to drop the links.
Okay. 1 minute, let me just check because I'm not sure exactly.
All right, then quick question for the prompt
I'm on
engineering
the Hills and Tech community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then for the prompt engineering, this question is for Mr. Adefokun. Is it the same prompt engineering roles where there was an hype about the salary being about $850,000 or something like that?
It is the same. It's not different. It's the same.
Okay. And you can do it all of that without coding, right?
Yes, essentially.
Okay. All right, sir. Okay, so let me allow any other person to ask questions.
Okay, Sylvia's hand has been up for a bit. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tomiwa. Thank you so much. Okay, it seems Alexandra, Silva, and Victor seems they have questions, or you forgot to lower your hand.
Yeah, this is Silva. Thank you.
Okay, Silva. All right, please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for the insight on generative AI. My question is, how do we leverage on AI in a typical office setting and at the same time avoid breaching data privacy and secrecy in an office setting?
Okay, so I think it depends on the policies that the office has that your business has in place. Some believe that they are comfortable with OpenAI Enterprise. Yeah, so there are conditions that OpenAI has said they will meet if you are using the enterprise version. So if the office is using that, you may be as comfortable as the office is. Microsoft is also, building their own tools that you can also use as well. And then you can also build your own custom tools that works within your privacy boundaries in your office. So, but let's say your office, does not have any of those, enterprise solutions in place, and you just want to use ChatGPT. First, you need to be sure that your office does not even allow ChatGPT at all. There are offices that do not allow, staff to use ChatGPT for work at all. So if your office allows ChatGPT, then the next step is what kind of information am I allowed to use? And you essentially want to consult your privacy guidelines in your office. Do they allow you to share client information? So whatever they don't allow you to use publicly, you probably don't want to put that in ChatGPT. Okay, so you just want to tread the line between meeting your office guideline and also achieving productivity carefully. But once you are clear with what you are able to use, then there is another level of care, of being careful, which is to discern by yourself, is this appropriate to share or not? And if it is, then fine, you can use that. So I think it comes down essentially to the policies that your office has in place in terms of using AI and also sharing information. And like I said, if they subscribe to any enterprise platforms, then there is a level of coverage that those people have provided to say you can put in your data and we will secure it. If you are using,
Okay.
yes, okay, so I think
Sorry,
that,
is there a way you can veil the information even if you don't use the office information in totality? Is there a way you can veil it and still get the
absolutely,
required output? Then
you
you
are,
integrate it into your office.
thank you. That's a very, 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 very good idea you have put forward. Yes, you can do that. You can screen out the information that your office does not want, and then you are able to you would be able to use that. And then when you are done, it's like you decode it back to your office language on your own, and then use it. That's fantastic.
All
That's
right.
fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, Tayo.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much.
Good
Lovely
evening.
presentation. Um, I'm a lecturer, so we have been having issues with students using ChatGPT for their projects, and I just want to find out, are there easier ways to, fish out this, let me say, fraud? Uh, it's not. I'm not against it. I'm not against using artificial intelligence for your projects. But then I don't think it's appropriate for the student to just, use artificial intelligence from introduction to the conclusion without even putting anything on its own. So how can we mitigate that kind of problem? Thank you very much.
Okay. I think there are tools now. I think ChatGPT also released one recently that can help you detect, and that's even a mandate that government is putting forward to AI developers, that while you build these things, we want you to also build tools that people can use to separate AI work from human work, okay, which will be useful. So there are tools out there that can, detect such fraud, so to speak. And then, yeah, you can even, I think you can also just copy a content into ChatGPT and say, what are the chances that I wrote this? And what's a better way to do that? Let's say that's the only tool that you have. It's not to ask ChatGPT, do you think this thing is written by AI? No. You can ask and say, to what degree in percentage is this content written by AI? And it's going to tell you to 60%, to 40% or 80%. And then you can be informed on that particular content and make your own decision if you want to trash it or accept it based on the percentage that it gives you. Yeah.
All right. So if I may ask, uh, of course, I know it's not possible for us to stop the students from using AI for their work. If I may ask, in order to like be on the same level with them, what do you think we should tell them?
I think
As in, to what extent should we tell them
I
that they
think
can go?
I think the way we are asking workers to improve on their own capability using AI is the same way a student should become smarter by using AI, because when they are out of school, they are coming into an economy that will be dominated by AI.
By
So
AI, yeah.
so if from school we have prevented them from using AI, then they will be at disadvantage. So, but what we can tell them is we can even give them, targeted assignments to say, go do this with AI. But the lecturer
AI.
would have structured that homework in a way that is beneficial, in a way that they will still have to do some research before they can get the result that is being expected. But yeah, to significantly, we should encourage them to use AI, but we also need to guide them to be sure that we have the kind of outcome that we expect. And I think that's the lecturer's prerogative to do. And it's essentially to give them assignments that they know that to get the result from AI won't be very straightforward. And all you need a student to do is to now be able to use their reasoning in a way that they know when to use AI, they are able to consult AI, and they have an objective in mind, which the lecturer has defined. And that's how I think, yeah, lecturers can encourage students to use
That
AI
makes sense. That makes sense.
without necessarily, selling their brain, because we don't want people to sell their
Abusing it. Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you very much. That's all.
you're welcome.
All right, thank you so much.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Victor Babarinde, Mr.
Yeah,
AU,
yeah, good evening. This
please,
is
yes, take
Victor.
your question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Tomiwa. I'm glad I was a part of this webinar and I've embraced, I've learned a lot and I'm actually considering embracing AI, artificial intelligence, in work. I'm a software developer
Interesting.
and I find it I find it very difficult to accept AI. I'm one of those people that find it very difficult to accept it.
I
Based
understand where you're
on,
coming from.
I feel, number one, I'm a proud software developer and I like the idea of writing everything, coding everything out by myself, knowing I was the one that built this from scratch. And I find that very, 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 very to just put aside and just having to just put myself in a position that I know is just something I wrote this thing for me, and I'm just literally just editing here and there and all of that. I feel like that makes me kind of is abstracting the whole process of the software development as programming, intense programming, abstracting all of that and just putting all of that, taking that all away from the whole software development process. And I feel like regardless of how AI or the advances AI has, in the end, everything is built on some, is running on some software that was coded by somebody somewhere.
Hello?
I think his internet has gone off. Can I ask a question in the interim?
Okay, please.
All right, yes, please, AU, go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to ask, I noticed you said AI can now see, and I was thinking about the integrations between different AI, will I say, vehicles, like between Midjourney, for example, ChatGPT. So and this is part one of the question. So if, for example, I see an image on Midjourney that I like, but I want to copy the prompts from that. And I know like in Midjourney, you can go and find like the prompts itself and copy, but to make it faster, is it a situation where I can put the image into GPT and ask GPT to extract the prompt that generated that image in Midjourney?
My network.
Okay. Okay. So, Victor, please give me a bit. We have another question.
All right,
Then,
thank you.
once we are done with that, we will come back to you. Okay. So, to your question, AU, you have created an image with Midjourney and you like that image, but you want ChatGPT to create a similar image for you, right?
Or somebody has created an image that I like, and I want ChatGPT to extract the prompts that created that image.
Okay, so let's say something like, let's find something. Let's say this. I'm just going to quickly save this this looks like something that AI generated. So just going to save. I don't know what is going to happen, but everything is worth experimenting. I would not say that I won't say I will be surprised if it's able to do what we want, but let's see how it's gonna go. Okay. So I've copied that. I'm going to bring it into ChatGPT. Desktop, I guess. Okay, screenshot. Generate the prompt that can create the image attached.
Maybe in Midjourney or
No, okay. Oh well, let's even see what it's going to. Okay, so this is what it thinks. Now, I'm sure if you take this to Midjourney or wherever, it's probably going to be something similar, or DALL-E. Yeah. So let's do that in ChatGPT and say create. Okay, it's already the message already started with create image. So this is going to use DALL-E. Yeah. Okay. So this simple process, like I said in the beginning, is consuming the energy it would take us to charge an iPhone from 0 to 100%. Yeah, so that's the kind of resources that these things consume. Okay, so this is what it feels. Let's compare it to the original. I think it's similar. I think that answers the question, right? So if you take the same prompt to Midjourney, you are going to get something similar, but it would give you the effects of Midjourney.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. We have learned.
The associated question, sorry to interrupt you, is for people who are in digital art that use resources like Midjourney and co. There's been a lot of conversation around the legal aspects, around laws saying that the art is not yours essentially, like people have access to it or because it was generated on Midjourney. Can you speak to that about how artists can still have rights to the art they create through AI legally?
Okay. To be honest, if I would speak to that, I would say that if you're an artist, and I know for sure there will still be a time that people will start looking for, original arts created by human. So I would say if you're an artist, you probably want to continue painting and enjoy painting instead of switching to, digitally generated arts. Just like the question Baba Victor was asking before, AI is taking away its passion to write code and it's not liking it. Maybe for him, it may not be as significant as somebody who has learned how to use paint and brush to create beautiful stuff, and now AI can create the same thing. I think if I were an artist, I would be depressed. But nevertheless, I believe there will be a time that people are going to pay good money to get original art created by painters when everywhere is saturated by digital arts. Okay, now to the copyright matters or around AI generated content on to be honest, I cannot really speak to it. For now, everybody's enjoying the moment and creating different things. Make the money you can make right now. The laws are going to change. The technologies are going to change. We are going to grow in the journey. But I really wouldn't, bother myself very much around the copyright, matters regarding content created at this time. And really, I'm not a lawyer and I really can't say much about it. And that's an area that people are also investing in, AI legal and stuff like that. So beyond creating stuff, there are other professions springing up, the ethics, the laws, the copyrights, resources, management, and all that. So I believe somebody on this call may pick interest. Maybe you're a lawyer. You may pick interest immediately and say, oh, on this conversation, somebody spoke about copyrights. How do we manage this and make a decent career out of it? So, but for me, I just want to create I just want to create stuff and enjoy the moment. I really can't speak to the copyright matters.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Victor, you may continue with your question.
Yeah, sorry about the interruption with the network. Yes, thank you very much. So yes, as I was saying earlier, I'm very much still passionate about programming, and I'll keep programming. I will not stop. So, so I feel like my questions. Brings me now to two questions. So now, does a software developer embracing artificial intelligence, does it make him or her a weaker software developer compared? Because I'm thinking, and I'm sure that is the actual conversation going on in the software development space currently, where the guys that are doing the hardcore engineering feel like you are a weaker person, you don't know how to code, that kind of thing. And when it comes to this thing, I understand most of everything. I mean, in software development is reusable in the sense like programming embraces usability as much as possible. But I think there are still some points where deep down in the core of software development and even the AI processing and everything still runs on some code that was written by somebody somewhere. And if we are to continuously abstract further away from programming, I feel like eventually you will not be able, by the time it comes to like, okay, fixing issues, blah, 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 in some points that will require the expertise of somebody that is a hardcore engineer, you might be at a disadvantage in that point. So
Okay.
as I don't, that make me a weaker person embracing software development. And how did you go about like embracing or wiring your psychology to accept it?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me start from the answer back to the question. The answer is what may be right in front of you, which it's not only software developers that are being threatened by AI, even consultants. The kind of conversation going on in the consulting world to say, would we have work to do when people can consult AI for anything? And there are several businesses that are built on top advisory business. Now, imagine if people don't need them anymore, but that's not going to happen. There would always be subject matter expertise, people who have a deeper understanding of how things work or how a particular subject work. What is going to happen is that those people would even become trainers for AI. They will become advisors for AI. They will sell their products as AI, so that it's just like a teacher, for example, and you can teach mathematics, but you are limited by space. You can only teach 500 students in your lecture hall. But then their advancement came and you are able to record your voice and put it online and people stream it, but it still doesn't feel like you teaching them because they are only watching what you have recorded. But now you have AI that can actually teach and can teach unlimited number of people. But you can still teach the AI your style. You can still give the AI more knowledge. You can still do a whole lot of stuff in that delivery. And all you are doing now is sending AI on a journey, and you're asking it to go do stuff for you. Yes, you are not the one, delivering anymore, but you are the one who programmed the AI to do what it's doing. You are the one who put the knowledge in it. You put the style in it. You see, when I was creating the apps, there is a place for contextual guideline. That is what is going to make an app that I created different from an app that you created, because I'm going to put in my own style into it, and it's going to behave the way I have designed it to behave, even if it's doing the same thing. Davido and Burna Boy are both singing, but some people prefer Davido, some people prefer Burna Boy. And it's simply because they put their elements in the music. And that's what we are going to have going forward. So as a software developer, you may be using AI. AI may be helping you to write the code, but the product is still going to inherently be you. And that's where creativity will come in. I started using GitHub Copilot recently. Let me actually demonstrate something. Let me hope I can find it. I should be able to find it, which I was wowed when I saw this. Let's say this guy. Okay, so I don't know if it will work now, but today it was actually working. You see, it's working, right? So what it's doing is it has read what is in this page, on this page. It noticed that I'm writing some Nigerian stuff. So, and it's following the same format. The previous one I have is Shop Nice. Now it's creating ShopRite, supermarket grocery transaction slip. I press tab, enter, enter, is going to suggest another thing, which is following that format. This is GitHub Copilot, right? Will I complain that is helping me to do this? Or I should still feel I should be the one doing this by myself?
I mean, this is great.
It's amazing, right? Yeah. So this is GitHub Copilot. Now, if I'm writing code, let me open one of my codes. Let me see. Let me see if I can find any of my code. Open recent. This is something here. Don't save. So, okay. What I shall want to say, actually on this call, you are probably the only one that would understand. But what I figured out is the Copilot is not just generating code. It's actually writing in my style. And I find that incredibly, fascinating. So he has read my code and is writing the way I wrote. It's not writing the way Microsoft, programmers, write code. It's not changing my style to something else. It's actually writing the code in a way that, it figured that I write my programs. So essentially, as a developer, how do I then, get to accept that this has come? It's the simple fact that it has come. And the only thing that can happen if I don't accept that it has come is I will become redundant. And I don't want to be redundant. At my age, to be honest, I already, like I said earlier, I already have the 19-year-old, 20-year-old people, coming up, writing great code. Do I want to compete with them? No. But what I have to do is to provide them guidance. That's growth. Okay. So if AI is the one that I now have to compete with, no, I wouldn't compete with it. I'm just going to turn it to my agent, and it's going to do work for me. And I'm going to use it to achieve my goals. That's just it. So the GitHub Copilot, I was angry about it, to be honest, just the way you felt, that. So what is now the purpose of many years that I've put in to get to this level if a co-pilot will be helping people to write? But while I used it, I see the value because it's just going to help me. It's going to help me to do my work faster. It's not going to change my brain. I'm still the one. And all I'm going to be doing as a developer going forward is thinking, imagining, how best things can be done. And then I now have like 5,000 developers in GitHub Copilot that can help me do my work. So it means that I can take on more jobs. I can take up more, side businesses, side deals. And before I will be limited by time. But now I can work faster because I have something who can write the way I write, who can program the way I program. And all I need to do is just, give it illustration of what I want, and then the code will come up. So I think
So like your avatar.
You say like my avatar. I once watched a South African movie. I've forgotten the title now, where people have zombies. So you capture somebody, you turn the person to your zombie, and then you'll be sending the person on errands. Exactly that is how I look at AI. So it's my zombie, and I can create as many zombies as I want, and they are going to go on errands for me to accomplish my goals. So that's how I look at it. Okay, so they are not taking away my passion. I'm just able to replicate my passion through them in many ways. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Really, that's enlightening. It helps a lot. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
let me also tell a story. One of the AI leaders that I've worked with, we were discussing about people, businesses that we consult for, creating their own applications, and they won't need us to help them. So I was the one saying that at a point, they may be able to be creating these applications and they won't ask us, And she asked that not many companies will have people like you, Tomiwa, in their business that can do this. And my response to her was, there will be a time that they are not going to need people like me. And that was a few months ago. That was before Microsoft started doing Copilot. That was before OpenAI released GPTs. So, but at that moment, I knew that moment is going to come, that these tools are going to be available. And these companies may not call us actually to come and build AI for them again. Okay. And that is when I started working on GPT Desk and say, okay, instead of that moment coming that people won't call me to ask them to build stuff for them, maybe I will make them use my tool, and that's how I started the project. Because instead of being displaced, I want to rather create the tool that, would keep, that would, I don't know how to
That
put
will
it now.
displace you.
Yeah. I want to rather create that tool that will displace me and let them use that tool. Do you get it? So that's how I think, and that's how I managed to create the GPT desk. Okay. Tayo, you have your hands up. Do you have another question, or
Yeah,
is okay?
yeah, it's not a question particularly. I just want to add to Victor's comment. I know Victor very well. He was one of my students. He was one of my best.
Oh,
So I would just suggest to Victor that if he wants to consider, he mentioned something that at the heart of everything, even with the AI, there are still some people writing the codes for the AI. So he may want to continue in that line, go deeper and deeper until he becomes a programmer that will actually be writing, the codes for artificial intelligence.
yeah, that's another thing I wanted to say. There are people working at OpenAI. So if your passion is to actually write code, never use, a co-pilot, you really want to do serious machine learning, there will always be the jobs, for people like that. And it's going to be high-paying jobs. OpenAI is one of the highest paying companies in the world. They pay programmers up to $800,000 per year, uh, and they are not just giving away the money. It's because they know these programmers have what it takes, yeah. So if you really want to be that kind of programmer, there will always be space for you out there, always.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Tayo.
Yes, I also like to add that during the OpenAI saga, the CEO of Salesforce was actually trying to poach, lots of developers from OpenAI who were not ready to go to Microsoft. So there's going to be lots of demand. There's going to be lots of demand.
Okay. I think we have exhausted all the questions. We have spent some good time in the absence. Let's see whether some questions are left in the chat. Okay, none that I can see. Okay. All right. So, Yves and Tech, I think you can close the meeting.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you, Mr. Tomiwa, for being so patient and kind, to sharing your knowledge with us of open AI. One thing we really worry about is when such skills, are popular like that. My worry is usually the scalability, the access, quality talents who are able to do this. But I'm very certain that, when you come on board, Use and Tech is going to be able to produce lots of quality generative AI professionals come 2024. So thank you for your patience, and thank you on board. Thank you for coming on board to sharing your knowledge with us. And to our potential students, alumni, community members, thanks for finding time to come on board. So without further ado, we'll be going off now. If you have any other questions, please send us an email, send us a DM on our Instagram, send us a message on our WhatsApp or Telegram. We would be happy to, answer them, and then watch out for further announcements. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Thank you so much. Mr. Tomiwa, please make me the host before you leave. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.